Hello, and welcome back to this week's edition of TCS Student News. I'm your host, Olivia Yates, here with
Garrett, let's get right into the news. Now, recently, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam has been hustled about guns. The reason this is because Northam wants to add new gun laws that passed the Senate floor on Thursday. The first law is limiting citizens to only buying one handgun per month. The second law that was passed is universal background checks. What this means is, if someone goes to a gun show and sees a handgun, instead of being able to pay cash for it and walk right out, that could possibly get a background check. The third law is a rule allowing localities to ban guns in some public areas. Other things the Democratic governor has backed is rules for reporting loss of stolen firearms, increased penalties for recklessly leaving loaded, unsecured firearms near children, a ban on anyone subject to a final protective order from possessing firearms, and a ban on assault rifles. Some moderate Democrats expressed concerns over the ban on assault rifles. Even through all these bans, recent polls are showing that there's a lot of support for the gun control measures that the Democratic legislature is proposing. So, Olivia, how how do we react to these new laws?
Well, some people are more upset about these new laws than others. Some are so upset that they are saying they won't follow these laws. In Virginia, Falker County leaders even said that they would defy any new gun laws that are passed by the legislation's incoming Democratic majority. The county's Board of Supervisors said that they will not let any legislation infringe upon people's rights to guns. Falker County, along with at least a dozen more, are claiming to be Second Amendment sanctuaries. But even though these counties are saying that they are not going to follow the law, it would be illegal for them not to. Legal experts in the area say that the reason Falker County is saying they won't follow the law is for symbolic reasons only. The county leaders aren't the only people upset by these laws. Many people went to Virginia's capital, Richmond, to protest. Some of the protesters say that you shouldn't blame the guns for the violence, that they have the right to protect themselves and to own guns, and that these laws are infringing on their rights. Meanwhile, people from the youth-led movement March for Our Lives say that while they support the Second Amendment right, there needs to be more regulations on guns in America. Garrett, how do you feel about what's happening in Virginia?
Personally, I feel like people have let their own guns. Everyone has the right, with the exception of a person with a felony or someone who is mentally ill. Background checks at gun shows are important because it stops a possible convicted felon from buying a gun. There should be fewer gun laws, but make them more severe. Instead of one law not working and trying to replace it.
I think that I agree with the March for Our Lives movement. While I support everyone's right to the Second Amendment, I think that there needs to be more regulations on guns, like universal background checks. But I think where everyone can agree is that there should always be a push for a serious decrease in gun violence. It may take a lot of compromising, but I feel that we can reach that goal.
Now for some TCS student news. This Monday was Martin Luther King Jr. Day. On that day, most schools are closed, but not TCS. TCS believes that instead of having a day off, you should go to school and learn about Martin Luther King, his accomplishments, and the fight for civil rights. The freshmen and sophomores had a conference with Mr. Tom, in which they talked about the civil rights movement and the impact it had on America. They went on to discuss how racism impacts people socially. Some students shared personal stories about how racism has affected their lives. I spoke to Jayla about the discussion. Who said talking around people, hearing our young people share their experience, personal stories was interesting. For Jayla being able to share a personal experience to bring our people together felt really good, and it was a relief. The juniors and seniors had a conversation about institutional racism and how racism shows itself socially. Some of us gave personal anecdotes from our lives and how racism has affected our communities. There is a deep conversation, and we are honest and put everything out on the table to be discussed. We talked about complex situations. At some point in the conversation, everyone was challenged to think.
I learned a lot from the conversation we had, and I appreciated it and will remember it. Last Friday, we watched a movie called Purple Rain. In it, Prince played a character called The Kid, who plays for a band called The Revolution. The character was in part based on Prince himself. In his personal life, Prince's character struggles with a verbally and physically abusive father who attempts suicide later in the movie. There are tensions in his personal life with his bandmates and a rivalry with another band, whose lead singer is a man named Morris Day. Throughout all of this, Prince's character falls in love with a woman named Apollonia. At one point, Apollonia tells the kid that Morris Day is working with her to form a girl group. Prince hits Apollonia, and their relationship becomes more and more unstable. The kid begins to compose more music, and he decides that he and his band will perform a song called Purple Rain. After watching the movie, the class had a discussion. We talked about how Prince was strong to show his flaws and to be unapologetically himself. Some students could connect to the story and shared personal stories from their lives. I appreciate my classmates giving their perspective on the movie and sharing, because it made me see things in a different way. I know after seeing this movie, I can see more of the meaning behind Prince's music.
Over the weekend, there's a very special day to be celebrated. That was the 30th anniversary of the community school. On January 18th, 1982, the first day of class started.
Also on that day, the mission statement was created. The mission statement says, "The community school is an academic and mentoring high school based in the Remington community for young people who want to advance their education, improve their lives, and better their community." Every day, TCS follows the mission statement, and it is very important to us.
We're sure that this day is very important to Miss Tom. The students in the community at the time wanted a school, so they came to him and asked for his help. The students from then until now are deeply appreciative of what the school does for them.
We get an in-depth education here that you can't get anywhere else. A big piece of our academics here centers around discussions and personal anecdotes, and the students really learn a lot from them, and not many schools are able to offer that.
The school has been built up year after year, and Mr. Tom has worked hard to provide this opportunity to our community.
So, with all that said, we would like to say happy birthday to the community school.
Recently, the school has a problem with the bathroom sink leaking. No matter what we did, we couldn't fix it. There's nothing we could actually do. And I'm sure at some point people were frustrated with the sink. That's when Mr. Ed, a former student and board member, came to the rescue and fixed the sink, and now it works without any leaks. The sink has been working perfectly ever since, and the frustration has gone away. Mr. Ed is always willing to step up and take the time to help us. Thank you so much for fixing the sink for all of us at the school. TCS wants to thank you and your various contributions.
We would also like to recognize another person for helping out the school. That person is Miss Tina, Destiny's mother and sponsor. Miss Tina came in last Thursday to clean the bathroom, lunchroom, and the kitchen. Just like every building, the school needs to be cleaned, and that can take a lot of effort and time. So we would like to thank Miss Tina for helping to take care of our school. We appreciate you a lot.
On Wednesday, there's a very special person's birthday. Miss Leah. Miss Leah celebrated her 75th birthday at the school. Staff and students celebrated by making her a card and a cake, and sang happy birthday to her. Miss Lee is the school's office manager. She collects tuition, restocks school supplies, and much more. Everyone would like to send you a huge thank you and happy birthday, and tell you how much we all love you. It is great having you as part of our community.
Last week, more students started working on the greenhouse project, which is being led by Sarah. But this time, Selma, Liani, Keith, and Faith joined Sarah. Right now, they are all working on planting spices so that they can sell them to raise money for the school. Some of the spices they planted includes rosemary and cilantro. All of the students enjoyed being around the plants and getting the opportunity to help a fundraiser for the school. I spoke to Selma about the project, and she said that she enjoys working on it because she gets to know her classmates better and have fun while learning new things about planting. The greenhouse and plants are looking awesome, so keep up the great work with the greenhouse project.
For our final story, to talk about lunches we had this week and give thanks to everyone who supplied them. We would like to thank Miss Lisa for bringing in the ravioli and salad, and thank Miss Gail for preparing it.
For Miss Christina supplying the very delicious lomo saltado.
For Miss Carol for supplying the awesome ham and cheese casserole.
For Miss Pig for supplying the popular egg and sausage casserole, fruit, and salad.
And to Mr. Raphael for supplying the much loved Italian chili.
Well, with that said, we would like to thank you for tuning in to this week's edition of TCS Student News.
Hope to see you next time.